Come on, Leia. I don't know if we have introduced what this real star of the show is. Leia. She's not that impressed. I'm sorry.
No.
Never mind. Anyway, so this week we are doing a breakdown of Just Like Her. Let's jump right into it. So, first question: how did we write this song?
I don't remember which came first, the music or the lyrics or the melody. This one, you remember?
I do remember.
Okay. Go
Do
for
you
it.
want to guess?
Go for it. No.
50-50? Okay, fine.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. This is what's up. The guitar hook was first. Okay, so one way that we piece things together is we keep just like a little folder on our phones of pieces that we have. And I remember that this was one of the guitar hooks that was in a folder that hadn't been worked on or even touched or talked about.
I do remember now. It was a weird. So this goes back to what we've said before. I think we said it last week with whenever I was playing the foot drum and guitar. So this was something that I had created a rhythm pattern with the foot drum and this progression. Yeah, so those two were kind of created together. I do remember it now, and it was like a little snippet of like an audio iPhone recording that I put into our like shared folder.
Yeah, we have like a new ideas folder.
Yeah, and that's where it was. Okay, I do remember now.
And the reason I remember that so well is because that was during, I don't know if it was summer or like early fall, and I'm not sure, because I like to paddleboard a lot, and so at that time we were living near a lake, and so I would drive back and forth from the lake, and I played this over and over and over again on that drive back and forth. And then I remember paddleboarding and coming up with the "She got my smile." I remember coming up with that on the water, so that's why it clicked.
Yeah, but that answers one of the questions that we actually had here
Oh,
that we were going to ask: which came first, music or lyrics? So now,
Music.
So the music came first for Just Like Her.
Yeah.
But what is the song about lyrically?
Ooh, lyrically, Just Like Her. Personally, I've always felt like, I think we both feel this way, that we just don't belong. Like we're just like the song. I've always felt like an outsider. I always have. Whether that's true or not, as open for interpretation, I suppose. I've just always felt like I didn't belong. So this song was a storyline in my head about a person at a party that was looking at another person and saying, I want to be like that person. So this song came from like kind of like an insecure place.
Yeah.
So the lyrics are describing like she's got a Monroe, as in Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. She's got a smile like that, and then it goes on and lists a bunch of like compliments about a person. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so that's what the song's about.
Cool. Well, I mean, we have already answered those three questions. So what we're going to do this week is we're actually going to do something special and show you some behind-the-scenes footage from the studio about some of the guitar tones and stuff like that that I used for the album. So we have some behind-the-scenes footage of that we're going to roll now. Total on this record, we used about 5 different guitars, 5 or 6. Most of the guitars on this record were Mario guitars. We used this one, which is my custom T-Hollow that they made, and then one that is a one pickup configuration. It's my black and white one, the El Chupacabra. This one and that one are pretty much on every track, I think. I don't know, we kind of varied here and there, but for the most part it was these two. We used some other different guitars, like some Supro. I think we used one of the silver tones, a various array of different pedals, and a lot of Greer amps, pedals, big ear pedals, the Shin Companion FY6. That was like it's an old fuzz pedal I've got from like '73. We use that a lot on the record, and yeah, this just kind of akens back to those times. We used a Vox AC15 for some of the guitar work. We mainly used the Greer amps Mini Chief through just like a 112 closed back cab, mic'd it up in the room, and a lot of the tones come from that. Yeah. My inspiration for guitar tone with this album, I would say kind of leans back to the 70s for me anyway. Kind of like late 60s, early 70s vibe. Me personally, I'm a big Clapton fan, always have been. I like the sound of those old, like late 60s, early 70s records. But for me too, I also listened to a lot of like Chili Peppers back in the day, like the John Frusciante era of when he was doing stuff with them. I started as a bass player actually, so I learned like all of Flea's parts. I learned like the whole album of Californication, like bass and guitar, just because I was a kid and that's all I had to do. But yeah, it was fun.
That is the end of Just Like Her, and I think we have one more week left.
I don't know, we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know.
We totally have one more week left. So tune in for next week's episode. Bye, guys.